Hey guys, it's Brittany. Welcome back to Under the Radar Books. This is part 2 of my book haul, and let's get started. The first one I have here is another Europa. It is Treasure Island by Sarah Levine, and this is about a young woman who is kind of stuck in her life. She doesn't really enjoy her job. She just seems kind of like doing the day-to-day and not really enjoying it much, and she ends up reading Treasure Island, and she gets super inspired by it and decides to like live her life based on the book or something along those lines, and it just sounds really interesting, and I can't wait to read it. Next, I got A Constellation of Vital Phenomena by Anthony Mara, and I've heard so much about this. This has won a lot of awards. It has a lot of hype. I also want to read Anthony Mara's short story collection. I don't know too much about this. I do know that it focuses on an 8-year-old girl as the protagonist, which I really enjoy child narrators. I feel like it brings something really unique to the story, makes them a little bit unreliable, and I believe that there's quite tragic things that happen to her in a war-torn area, I believe Russia maybe. So I'm definitely excited to get to that one. Just need to be in the right mood for it because it seems pretty dark. Next is a book I received from the publishers. This is from Bloomsbury, and it is The Trees by Ali Shaw, and I'm going to read you the blurb. It sounds really cool. It says, "They arrive in the night, thundering up through the ground, beating at the air with their branches, transforming suburban streets into shadowy forest. Buildings are destroyed and power lines felled, broken bodies still wrapped in bed linen hang among the twitching trees. Adrian Thomas wakes up alone in this unrecognizable world. His wife Michelle is across the sea in Ireland, and he has no way of knowing whether she's alive or dead, or whether the trees have come for her too. So when he meets Hannah, a woman who sees the arrival of the trees as a sign of renewal rather than destruction, and Seb, her teenage son, he's persuaded to join them into venturing into the wilds. Their hope is to find Hannah's brother, a forester, and to reunite Adrian with his wife. But their journey through the trees will take them into an unimaginable territory, to a place of terrible beauty and violence, of deadly enemies and unexpected allies, to the dark heart of nature and the darkness and power inside themselves." So this sounds so wonderful. I own The Girl with the Glass Feet, also by Ali Shaw. This definitely sounds a lot darker, more of a horror novel, really dark science fiction / fantasy. So I'm so excited to pick this up. It doesn't come out until August of 2016, and so I'll probably wait to read it till it gets a little bit closer to the publication date and then do a review of it. Next, I had to get the paperback edition of Get in Trouble by Kelly Link because the cover is just so absolutely fantastic. I couldn't resist it. It's beautiful. This is a short story collection of magical realism stories. I've heard Kelly Link just does the most bizarre and wonderful stories, and so I cannot wait to read this. Next up, I found this at a used bookstore for a really great price. It is The Gate to Woman's Country by Sherry S. Tepper. This has been on my TBR for ages, and I was looking for this cover because I just think it's really cool, and this is in really good condition. But this is about a world where women live in this colony, and they're in charge, and most of the men have died, I believe, off of the planet. There's only a few of them left, but they all serve the women, and it just sounds really interesting. So I haven't heard too much about it, but I'm really intrigued by it, and I will be excited to let you guys know how it goes. Next up, I got My Abandonment by Peter Rock, and this sounds kind of similar to Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller, which was one of my favorite books of last year. It says a 13-year-old girl and her father live in a forest park, an enormous nature preserve in Portland, Oregon. They inhabit an elaborate cave shelter, wash in a nearby creek, store perishables at the water's edge, use a makeshift septic system, tend a garden, and even have a library of sorts. Once a week, they go to the city to buy groceries and otherwise merge with the civilized world. But one small mistake allows a backcountry jogger to discover them, which derails their entire existence and ultimately provoking a deeper flight. And it's inspired by a true story, which is really interesting. So I'm excited to read that and see what it is all about. Next up, I got The Crow Road by Ian Banks. I haven't read any Ian Banks before. I do own Wasp Factory. It seems like he writes very disturbing and powerful reads. So I don't know what this is about. I know it's set in the 70s, and I believe it also has a child protagonist, but I just read the first sentence, and it just really grabbed me. I knew that I had to take it home with me. So It was the day my grandmother exploded. I sat in the crematorium, listening to my Uncle Hamish quietly snoring in the harmony to Bach's Mass in B minor, and I reflected that it always seemed to be death that drew me back to Gallinach. So that just sounds so interesting. And this book is just really beautiful. It has birds on each of the chapter pages, and anyways, I just had to bring it home and give it a try. So the last book in my book haul is Broken Glass Park, which is another Europa. And this says, a riveting debut, Sasha's hunger for life shines through her relentless fight to leave behind a painful childhood. So I believe this is a coming of age book. It sounds really gripping. I know that the main character has lots of struggles in her life, and she is trying to overcome them. I believe she's trying to be an author and write a novel while escaping some really difficult things from her past. So sounds really good. And like I've said, Europa has never let me down so far, so I'm really excited to read this one as well. So that is the end of my giant book haul, and like I said, there's even more to come, so it's been an outrageous book buying month for me, so stay tuned for more book hauls on the channel, and until next time, happy reading, guys.